Hey everyone, and welcome back to a new installment of our video tutorial series. Today I'm going to show you something a little bit more interesting than just conforming media. I'm going to give you a quick overview of the available grading tools found in Ray. I'm using a previously conformed project, the one that I did in the Conform Red Media tutorial. It's a series of R3D clips shot in 4K. But let's switch to the player module so we can take a look at the grading panel. I'm going to do that by bringing up my contextual menu, and once inside the player, I can activate my grade panel. The grade panel is organized in a very intuitive way. On the vertical, I have my color pipeline, and on the horizontal, I have the available tools for each segment inside that pipeline. Another cool feature, especially when grading R3D files, is the fact that I have my RedCam settings on the same level as with the other tools. This means that I can quickly switch back and forth tools, experiment with settings without the need to interrupt my color grading flow or the need to bring up a new menu to access my RedCam settings. But what if I need to get an overview of my timeline, or maybe I want to copy a grade from one clip to another distant one, or maybe I want to group different clips on the timeline? For that we have the storyboard panel. To activate it, you need to press F7 on the keyboard. The storyboard is a visual representation of my timeline. It shows your clips individually in an organized way. I can use the storyboard to quickly navigate on a distant clip. I can do that by double-clicking on the thumbnail for that specific clip. I'm gonna choose this one here containing the man in the red coat. So if I double-click on it, I'm going to get positioned at the beginning of that clip on that specific position on the timeline. Now I'm going to use the RedCam settings to make an obvious change in the image. So I'm going to drop the temperature to make the image look blue. I'm going to apply it on that image. And now if I switch back to storyboard view, I can see that the thumbnail for that image got updated. Now, what if I wish to copy this specific color settings and apply them on another clip? Again, I can use the storyboard to do that. What I'll have to do is get positioned on the clip on which I wish to apply the settings by double-clicking on it. I'm positioned on that clip, and now if I go to storyboard view and use Alt, double left click on the image containing the settings that I wish to apply, I can see that those specific settings got applied on my second clip. What happens if I want to take these settings and apply them on all the scenes where I can find the man in the red coat? Once again, the storyboard is very useful for this. Once inside, I can select clips and add them to a group. I can select my clips by control left clicking on them. And once my clips are selected, all I need to do is select the group number and click group. Now I can clearly see that my group got created. I'm going to switch back to the grade panel, and right now if I want to modify one clip and I want that modification to get applied on all the clips in my group, I need to turn on gang. Now let's get positioned on a clip on which I haven't made changes, like this one for example. Okay. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to decrease the temperature in the RedCam settings for this clip. Also, I'm going to change the gamma for it to Rec 709. Now let's see what happens to the other clips in the group. I can see that I have the same settings for all the clips that I added to my group right now. I didn't save any of my color settings up until now. I'm going to do that by using my control panel, and I'm going to press the mem button on it, mem for memorize, and once pressed, all my color settings are safely stored in a grade inside the grade library. You can access the grade library by pressing F8 on your keyboard. Once inside, I can see my last grade safely stored here containing all the color settings that I used for my group. I can use the grade library to organize my grades by renaming them or deleting them. I'm going to rename my last stored grade and call it red coat, let's say blue. Okay, I'm satisfied enough. Also, I can use the grade library to access other grades from other projects. If you click on Other, you'll see a list of all available projects inside Rain. I remember that I made some grades in the red conforming project. So if I click on it, right now I can see the grade library in that specific project. You can select grades the exact same way as you would select clips in the library. I'm gonna select my grade here for the scene with the man in the red coat by control left clicking on it, and I can use the lift carry drop system to grab it, and I'll want to copy this grade in the grade library in my current project. So I'm gonna click on current, select my project, and in order to copy it I need to press Ctrl on the keyboard and left click with the mouse. And here we have the new grade copied in my current grade library. Now let's try this newly copied grade to see how it looks. In order to recall a grade from the grade library, you can either double click on it, or you can select it. You can identify a selected grade by the blue border around it. And once you select it, you can exit the grade library by pressing F8 again, and you can use your control panel to recall the grade by pressing the recall button. So I just copied and applied a grade taken from a different grade library that resides in another project. Now, what if I don't always want to switch back and forth between the grade library and my grade panel in order to apply different color settings? Because sometimes it can get a little bit cumbersome to always press F8 to access the grade library, select a grade, double click on it, or press the recall button on your control surface in order to apply new settings on your clip. There is a really fast and streamlined way to access the grades inside your grade library in the Rain interface. We call it the Quick Store. To turn on the Quick Store, you need to press Q on the keyboard. When pressing Q, you will see another set of thumbnails appearing right beneath the event viewer. These are the thumbnails representing the grades that are stored in your grade library. In this way, I can double-click a grade directly from the interface, from the grading panel, in order to quickly apply it on the clip you're currently working on. This way, you can get really fast and productive in applying grades and seeing the differences between them without always going inside the grade library. So in this way, you can go inside the grade library only when you want to organize, rename, or delete your grades, or when you want to import other grades from other grade libraries from other projects. Now I have a different problem. It seems that the director of photography cannot decide between the blue variant and the one that I imported from a different project. He wants these two variants so he can later decide between them for one of the clips in my group. Let's just search for another clip. Maybe this one. So what I want to have is to get two different versions for this clip here. I can easily do this in Rain by control right clicking on the thumbnail in the event viewer, and this is going to bring up the store version pop-up. I'm going to use this one to store one version of this clip, the one that I imported from a different project. So I'm going to hover my mouse over an empty slot, release the mouse button, and right now, in order to recall that version, I need to right click on that same clip and hover my mouse over that version, release the mouse button, and that's going to recall that version, those color settings for my clip. Let's do the same thing for the blue version. So I'm going to double click the grade in the Quick Store. This is going to apply it on my clip, and I'm going to control right click on the event viewer, choose an empty slot, release the mouse button, and right now if I right click on that clip, I can see my second version got stored. So this way I can quickly switch back and forth, and I can quickly store multiple variants for one clip so the director of photography can later decide between them. Now let's quickly make another version in which I'm going to change the gamma using the RedCam settings, and I'm also going to make a subtle change in the balance. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna recall the first blue version. I'm gonna choose the red space gamma here. I'm gonna go in balance, adjust the midtones so I can get a better contrast. Now I'm gonna use my control panel to memorize this grade so you can see it appearing in the quick store here. And now I'm gonna control right click on the clip and I'm gonna store the third version in the versioning pop-up panel. So right now I can have a quick view between the three versions. So everything is fine right now. I can activate the scopes, the histogram and the waveform. I also have a vector scope, but I'm not going to use it right now. So maybe I want to see how my colors behave between the three versions. So this is the first blue version. This is the second blue version, and this is the one that I imported from a different project. So I can quickly see how my colors are behaving for each of the versions. So I can help the director of photography to make up his mind. And right now I can either save this composition and create a new one to start from scratch, or I can be satisfied with what I have here and output it over the SDI signal or perform a render. So I guess you got a pretty good idea on how you can use the multitude of tools available in Rain to quickly and efficiently grade without too many interruptions. Make sure you stay tuned for the upcoming episodes where we're gonna cover the grading tools available in Rain in a more detailed fashion. Thanks for watching and have fun using Rain.